to another episode of Witticism. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Mary, bringing you the news that matters most around the globe.
In Philadelphia, a drunken man boarded a school bus thinking it would take him home and rode it for several stops. I don't know what's more Philly, a man being that drunk at 2:30 in the afternoon on a weekday, or a bunch of kids being completely unbothered by the middle-aged drunk man on their school bus.
Award-winning, global superstar, queen of pop, the list goes on and on for Madonna. You may notice one thing missing from this list, and that is watcher of whale porn. That's right, Madonna recently came out and said she loves to watch weird internet videos, and these freaky fish videos are on the top of her list.
DUIs are one of those things that you can't help but laugh about till it happens to you. So what do you do when you're pulled over tipsy and got a beer breath? Use some Axe. Nothing will cover that beer breath more than the smell of an 8th grade bathroom.
Being a teacher is a hard job, and students hardly ever listen to you. But do you know who does listen to you? Slaves! That's where one teacher had the brilliant thought of a mock slave auction in class. However, once the principal walked in and saw Kyle, Austin, and Tyler bidding on Tyrone, he lost his job and set up a GoFundMe.
An Ohio man decided to drink nothing but beer for Lent. He works for a brewery, so getting the beer wasn't an issue. His hardest challenge is going to be able to stick to that fast for 46 days. If only my ex could have stuck with me for that long.
Have you ever heard the expression, "you're before your time"? Well, a nipple and ear removal specialist was just jailed for his medical procedures. And while his clients were all satisfied with their results, law enforcement couldn't help but feel that the look was so 3000.
Migos is to perform at the Kids' Choice Awards. After a decline in views in the past few years, the Kids' Choice Awards are bringing what kids really want. Songs about money, drugs, and of course, thick. And just as expected, 90% of the performance was a censored beep.
Recently, a woman was set on fire while having a C-section at the San Fernando General Hospital. A topical agent was placed on her skin, and a screen was put up to block her view of the surgery. She heard a nurse shout, "Fire!" and started to panic. She filed a lawsuit against the hospital and still has no explanation of what caused the fire.
Amber Alerts are sent out to inform the masses of a missing child in hopes of returning them home safe. But what happens if that alert disrupts your favorite TV show, and now you don't know which bachelorette is going home? That's why a petition has been started for no more Amber Alerts during programming, only the commercials.
In recent TSA news, a man tried disguising tortoises as pastries to get through airport security. When a TSA agent was asked to comment, he replied, everything he was wearing said "I love turtles" on it, so he was a suspicious character from the start. But he also just put his turtles in a clear donut box, so I don't know what he thought was going to happen.
A Russian perfume brand is under fire for their newest scent. Numiere Perfume released their scent Sexual Harassment and aren't exactly getting the backlash. I mean, can you blame them? Who wouldn't want to smell like tears, fears, and depression? Personally, it's my natural scent.
The coolest kid on campus was called to the witness stand to defend his parents in the recent college tuition scandal. While rolling up the fattest blunt you've ever seen, he said, quote, "Nah fam, my rents are cool as shit," and proceeded to take a nice chunky rip as he returned to his seat.
The band Fall Out Boy has recently been sued by a stuffed animal company for using the company's life-size wearable llama puppet? Furry Puppet Studio is suing the band for millions of dollars for wearing these costumes during tour and other videos while they were permitted only to use them for music video Young and Menace. Really, who gives a shit? They're worse than alpacas anyways.
Parents will go to any lengths to ensure that their children aren't having sex. From TV control locks, monitored cell phones, limited internet, and even killing them. Yes, I said killing them. While life is a little sadder without your baby, at least you know she'll never be raw dog behind the school bleachers.
Last week, police in Indiana were chasing a runaway cow until it crossed a street. They later found it aesthetically posing by a Chick-fil-A. This just proves that Chick-fil-A needs to keep a tighter leash on their mascots.
Joseph Peterson, a 33-year-old failed drummer from Nebraska, tried to rob his local Papa John's with drumsticks and holding a sign that said, "Give me everything in the register." No, he was not threatening them with chicken drumsticks, but actual drumsticks, the drum-playing kind. Honestly, out of all pizza places, you chose Papa John's? Was it worth it? That's not even good pizza.
Toilets are the future doctors. At least that's what companies are trying to get you to believe. A new AI toilet will not only function as a toilet and a bidet, but also a digital scanner that will find any ailments in your stool, finally proving, years later, that girls do poop.
A local girl passed away in what would become a fatal pancake eating contest this past weekend. Though authorities have ruled the death an unfortunate accident, Aunt Jemima has reportedly been called in for questioning.
And that's all the time we have for you tonight. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Mary.
You stay beautiful, Indiana.
Hello and welcome back to Reality Check. I'm your host Kane, and this week we're talking about one of my favorite life experiences, failure. Whether it was an exam, an event, a job, a new dance move, or a pregnancy test, we've all failed at something along the way and hopefully learned something from it. But surprisingly enough, sometimes it takes more than one failure to shock some sense into someone. I can't tell you how many times I've had to walk a girlfriend through a pregnancy test. Like, come on girl, there's the pill, spermicide, condoms, chastity belts. Hell, even ear stuff is better than carrying around a 7-pound fetus inside of you to your 8 a.m. Personally though, failure is one of those things I love to see, but I hate when it happens to me. Like I said, I know you learn from your failures, but the more I make them, the less people like to listen to me. And it's all about just being able to fail gracefully. That way you can still command an audience, even if you make a mistake here and there. Let's use a public figure as an example of not failing gracefully. Lori Loughlin, Aunt Becky. She's been a staple in many lives for over a decade now. But now that all that hard work is down the drain because of one massive failure. We all know that money makes the world go around, and apparently it can even get you into your university of choice. And that's just what Aunt Becky did. She bought both of her daughters into UCA and obviously got caught. This is not only a huge legal scandal in and of itself, but it also caused her to lose her spot on Fuller House and the Hallmark Channel. Not only did she lose her career, but her daughter Olivia, who's a YouTuber, had her Sephora line pulled and had her trademark application for her own cosmetic line denied because, get this, her poor punctuation. Now, we can assume that if she had good punctuation, she probably wouldn't have needed to be paid into school. And all of this because instead of ensuring her children got properly educated, Aunt Becky spent a little too much time on her own mediocre career. A failure inside of a failure. But every failure isn't as big as that one. If you're a Kardashian, at least like once a month you get called out for a Photoshop failure. Or if you're an influencer, your fans will realize when you tag the wrong accounts on your sponsored Instagram posts. And these are all small failures, but how you react to them will make or break how people view you. You need to take control over your failures. Like, take Ariana Grande, for example. We all remember that bad tattoo she just got, right? While it was supposed to say 7 rings in Japanese, it translates to barbecue chicken, roughly. While this seems like a huge fail, Ariana combated it by tweeting back fans with a chicken wing emoji, making the joke not about the tattoo itself. So she just gracefully walked through the failure like a Victoria's Secrets model, but she's 5'5". All in all, just remind yourself that while you may make failures, and they may make you look like a dumb, you yourself aren't a failure. You're a human being who is learning and growing. I know this story about a dumb freshman boy who didn't go to class for 2 months straight and realized he was failing a class. Instead of caring about it or crying, he retook the class and got a 4.0 that next semester and realized you're only defined by what you let define you. So if you're a failure, it's because you define yourself as one. And that's all the time I have to talk today. I'm Kane, and this has been your Reality Check.
Welcome back to Witticism's Word of the Day, your primary source for today's most important words. Today's word of the day is pop, noun, the wrong way to say soda. Thanks for tuning in.
You stay beautiful, Indiana! Wow!
It's a diamond. Do I believe in ghosts? I'm gonna offer that with a rebuttal question. Does a bear shit in the woods? Yes, I do believe in ghosts.
Well, that's hard to say. I think sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I kind of flip-flop in between.
I think it depends on the situation. So some people say that like everyone's got their own little ghost stories, but like I never really believed in them until like last year.
I'm the most wishy-washy human being in the world, so I don't know what I believe in, but I do know that there are like weird things that happen that I can't explain, and it could be ghosts. I think it would be really cool if it was ghosts, and I kind of want to get in on that.
Yes, I do believe in them because you never know what could happen. Like, you never know what's out there. But yeah, I think they're real and scary and terrifying.
Do I believe in ghosts? Yes. I think they are real and they scare me a lot.
So, I personally do not believe in ghosts. I don't get the hype. I think that there's an explanation for everything, and if there isn't an explanation, then don't think about it too hard.
I would consider myself undeclared in that department, much like my major when I was a freshman in college.
Do I believe in ghost shows? Everyone except ghost hunters. They'll take anything that is just out of the ordinary and call it a ghost, whereas shows like Ghost Adventures and something like that is true ghost hunting.
100% no, because every single one of them, they're like they say like, what's your name? And then like something really small happens and they all start screaming and you can barely hear what the ghost said. You're like, wait, what did he say? And then you rewind it and like nothing was said. I tried to watch like a lot of them when I was younger, and like none of them just like seemed real like at all. I think a lot of those shows are just not really, they're all just for show.
Yes and no. I think the older ghost shows were kind of believable and like maybe some of those things happened, but the ones that have been out the past like 5 years, those are all fake. They hear a wolf out in the woods or something, or they hear a coyote and they're like, it's a ghost. No, it's not a ghost. But you know what is real? Bigfoot. Those Bigfoot shows, all real.
No, because they just all seem so dramatized to me, kind of like how Discovery channels are now, where they'll tell you things that aren't really history or discovery.
I don't know, because they could be real, but they also are like highly exaggerated, like so much. Because Paranormal State was the top ghost show, like before Ghost Adventures, like it was Paranormal State. And I think he was from Pennsylvania, or he studied at some school in Pennsylvania, whatever. But I'm mad that they took that show off because me and my sister would always watch it. But I'm like, Ghost Adventures, they use like those boxes, like those ghost boxes. And it's always like, all you hear is, and they're like, oh my God, I heard my name. And then you're like, I'm like, yep, totally heard it. So I guess kinda, but also not really.
The only reason that I don't believe in ghost hunting shows, and I don't specifically not believe in them because I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in them because it's TV.
Oh, absolutely not. My mom used to watch those all the time when I was a kid, and now I'm like really, really turned off by them. It's kind of like a dad with football, but like different.
I think ghost shows are kind of bullshit, but Ghost Adventures is the best thing on television, I'm not gonna lie. If we're talking trashy television here, I do not watch The Kardashians or like The Bachelor or anything, but I watch Ghost Adventures. You know why? Because Nate, that dude, that really like overly buff dude who wears like those thick rimmed glasses that look like the 3D glasses from the movie theater, and he like just like punched out the lenses, and he's always wearing like an Ed Hardy shirt. He's so enthusiastic, and I love that. He's like walking around in his, in his dark, scary buildings with night vision camera, and he's like, dude, did you hear that?
Shut up, I'm scared.
Is there a difference between ghosts and spirits? I kind of feel like no, I don't, like, I feel like ghost is just like a vague, like, third grade word, and then spirit is just a little more specific, but like also not really. I guess if you're more religious, spirit would be applicable to that, but like.
I mean, they both say boo.
Yes, I'm gonna say that. I feel like spirits have more meaning to the place that they are they have a meaning as to why they're here? Ghosts are just it's stuck in purgatory.
I think, yeah, I feel like when we like define ghost, we kind of think of like demons, like evil ghosts. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I think we always think of like demons, and then with spirits, I kind of think of like they're like there, but they're not really gonna like harm you or anything. But with ghosts, I feel like they're gonna haunt your dreams and I don't know. Maybe there isn't a difference. Maybe they're all just the same people, all just assholes.
So, I don't believe in ghosts, but for some reason I do think there is a difference between a ghost and a spirit. I can't tell you what it is. I feel like a spirit is that kind of person that like messes with you, but like, don't think about it too hard. Just be like, hey, that's the spirit. And just like be at peace.
I didn't know there was supposed to be a difference until I saw this question. So no, I don't think there's a difference.
I don't know. I never really thought about that question before. I just thought they were two different words for saying, you know, ghosts. Like spirit is the old Latin one, or I don't know, spirit's a Latin word. It's a Catholic word, I guess, but I don't know. I hear spirit in church. I hear ghost everywhere else. Although apparently people used to say the Holy Ghost. So I don't know. I think they're the same thing, really.
Is there a difference between ghosts and spirits? I think yes, kind of. They're pretty much the same thing. They're pretty much the same thing. I think spirits are a little more, because spirits are in just like one place, like they're in a building or they're in a room or they're in a basement or something. And I think that's because there's meaning behind it to them. Whereas a ghost is just kind of like, I'm floating around here, I'm gonna tap you, I don't know, I'm just floating around here. Ghosts don't have a spot.
Do spirits ever break on through purgatory into the other side? Yeah, I would say so. You know, there's a nice little legend that says we're all here for a purpose. And what we do on Earth really determines the afterlife that we have. So it wouldn't surprise me if, whether negative or positive, ghosts move on to the afterlife. I think purgatory is just a judgment period to see where they go. The longer they stay, it's just the harder they judge people. So I don't think they ever stay in purgatory. If they did, they might want to get the hell out.
I think it depends. I think if ghosts do exist, it's just like a purgatory.
I think, yeah, you can, because like everybody else said, there's meaning in life. And if you don't know what your purpose is or what your meaning is, you're probably gonna go to purgatory, and you gotta kind of wait it out, you gotta fix yourself. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what like brings ghosts here, is that like they have business and can move on, then yeah, I'm sure they would.
I think eventually they do. It all depends on what you believe. Like, I believe in reincarnation, so I'd kind of just want to be like reincarnated as like a tree or a cat or something. But I feel like people they eventually move on to what their higher, whatever they want, whatever they believe in. If they fulfill like, you know, like their destiny of like what they're meant to be. But I feel like evil people, like, I feel like they're just kind of like stuck there, just chilling, haunting people.
So this is also a thing. I don't really know if purgatory exists, because everybody says that purgatory is the place where you're decided if, like, you can like renew yourself, or like that's where it's decided. But what did you just spend like 70 years doing if that's not like your deciding factor? Like, so you're telling me you can go to purgatory for 5 minutes, like help a baby, and it's like, oh my gosh, you murdered 3 people, but heaven. Like, no, you are a person in your life. Go the to hell.
Do I think they ever leave purgatory? I don't, again, it's kind of up to like a personal belief about like different realms and whatnot, but I guess I believe in a redemption arc where like if you have something left to do and you figure that out, you can move on. But I can't say for sure, because remember, I'm undeclared. But I mean, here's a theory for you. What if this is purgatory?
Do I think Ouija boards are real, and have I ever used one? I have not used one because I'm not getting possessed today. Stay with me, demons. Yeah, I think they're real to an extent. A lot of Ouija boards are kind of publicized, and it's like you and your friends get together and you all push it around and you freak out the one person who's scared of ghosts. But if you're using it properly, and if you're not using it just to kind of be like a smart you're gonna believe that, but if you're not being a smart then I think, yeah, they're real.
I will definitely trot around as one of those people who's like, Ouija boards are dumb and I don't believe in them, but I also would never touch one. So I guess in some ways I do, even though it's a children's toy.
Ouija boards are the most fake of the ghost things. I do know.
Have you ever used one?
No.
Honestly, I don't think Ouija boards are real. Like, I don't think they work. I know people be moving that thing that on their own, like, they're like, oh, did you move it? No, I didn't move it. Yeah, you moved it. You're lying to yourself. Have I ever used one? No, and I never will because they scare me, even though I think they're not real. But like, you know, like those movies where they all use a Ouija board and it's like, imagine if it was like Jumanji where you got like sucked into the Ouija board.
So I have used Ouija boards, and that's how I can tell you they are very much fake. Again, it's a board game. Make the money. And how else are you gonna make money if you tell people not to do things in certain areas? So they do it in certain areas. I literally played a Ouija board at 11:59 in a graveyard. Did anything happen? No, and we were on a World War I's vet grave, just sitting right in front of the tombstone. If you're telling me that doesn't piss someone off, it does, but nothing happened.
I used a Ouija board once, and a lot of my, I think last semester, and all my friends were trying to use it because we just saw a ghost movie and everyone's like, oh, let's use a Ouija board or whatever. And I kept calling the ghost a nerd, and when you're not really supposed to like make fun of the ghost like at all. So I was like, huh, what's up, nerd? And he's like, don't say that. And they're like, oh, but I just kept insulting the ghost, which you're not supposed to do. And like I said, I kept calling it a nerd and saying insults to it because I thought it was funny. But yeah, I mean, nothing happened to me, so I guess it didn't really work.
Absolutely.
Oh, Mr. Ghosty, speak to us.
Do I think people actually get possessed? Yes and no. Yes, like Jake was saying, like evil people and people who are really bad, serial killers, murder, yeah, those type of people. I think they are possessed by the evil spirits. That sounds so fake and weird, but
Personally, no, but my friend's dad is like a Greek pastor and has apparently performed exorcisms. So like, something freaky happened there.
I feel like it would be fun to pretend to be possessed. And actually, maybe through all these years, I got possessed by a and I just never noticed. It could be true. I'm not saying that like, I'm not Cain, but I'm also not saying I'm not someone else.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the most criminal masterminds are the ones who gets possessed the most. I feel like they don't have real protection from, they're not invulnerable to spirits possessing them really.
Maybe some people. I don't like to think about it, but again, it comes back to whether or not I believe in ghosts. If I did, I probably believe possession could be a thing, but I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes whether someone's being possessed or whether they're just on some really bad drugs.
Do I think people actually get possessed? I've never seen it happen. If it's anything like it is in like the Exorcist movies, God, I hope not, because that looks painful for your joints. Do you think it, like people after they're like possessed, they're like sore in the morning? You know how like when you work out and you have like, you know, sore thighs or like sore, you know, biceps or something? Do you think they wake up and they're like, God, what did I do yesterday? Do they remember it if it happens? I don't know. I don't know.
No. Basically, because all those possession videos are just like people screaming and the priest throwing holy water on them. I think it's, I think they're all just kind of funny. I think that it's not really a possession. I think it's just people being kind of nuts. And the priest is like, oh my goodness, free this person. And she's like, ugh, and like it just doesn't work out. And like it's just really funny to me. I just laugh every time. Because imagine like a 6-year-old woman like screaming and going, ugh, and then like the priest is like, flee this woman, and like throwing stuff at her. Like it just doesn't work, and I think it's hilarious every time. So I don't think so. I think they're all just crazy.
I hope not, because I've seen The Shining and I've seen the Amityville Horror, and those just scare me a lot. Especially when you're 6 years old at your dad's girlfriend's house and they make you watch the Amityville Horror, the old one, and then all you remember is like a dog falling in a pool of blood, and then the dad killing his kids, and then flies flying on the window. And then you just have dreams for about 10 to 12 years of your parents killing you in your sleep. So I really hope possession isn't real.
Do I have any experiences with hauntings? Actually, yes. This year, actually, in our dorm room, I couldn't sleep in my room one night. I have bad insomnia, so, and for some reason I find more comfort sleeping on couches, if that makes any sense. So really, if I ever get sent to the couch when I'm older and married, it really won't be a punishment. I'll be fine with it. But I was trying to sleep, and I'm just breaking REM sleep 4, which is the deepest you can go. And I felt this weight on my chest. I looked up, I saw a face, and I heard, it was like I was sort of entering a new dimension. I think this is what sleep paralysis was, and it wasn't a good time, but I woke up and I was like, whoa, that is some weird right there.
Last year I did like a little documentary about this like rumor, well not rumor, I guess this urban legend in my hometown. It's called Reuben's Grave. So I went there with some of my friends, and we kind of like made a little documentary about it. We had a script, it was cool. So we got there, it's dark, I'm terrified because first of all I'm scared of the dark because you don't know what's out there, because what if a ghost grabs your ankle? Yeah, so we were out there and we were recording, and I got this weird vibe, and I didn't want to be there at all, and my phone ended up dying at 66%, 666, devil, Satan. Anyways, so it died at 66%, it wouldn't turn back on. I had it charging in my car and it just wouldn't turn back on. So I drove away, and it wouldn't turn back on until I got home. And I lived like 45 minutes away from this place, and it wouldn't turn back on. It was charging me the whole entire way.
My mom, we used to live in this house in Hampton, and my mom told me that one of her friends was riding on a street, was riding down on a motorcycle, and he lost control because he was drunk. And we used to have this it was like a fallen down telephone pole in like this ditch, and he fell off his motorcycle and he hit his head and he ended up dying. And the motorcycle landed under mine and my sister's bedroom window, and my mom was like scared because she thought someone was like breaking into the house. So she was like crawling on the floor to see like what happened, and she still feels guilty about it because she kind of thinks it's her fault, like if she would have like got up and called the ambulance, whatever. But she would still find, like when she was like gardening, she would find like the nuts and bolts from the motorcycle. And when they were friends, he used to like mess with my mom all the time, like just, I don't know, like do stupid shit to her. But she said when she goes to bed, she keeps the remote under her pillow so she can like just easily like turn the TV off when she's done listening to it. And one time she said like her remote wasn't there, and like she knew it was. So she was like tearing apart her whole room and like the bed and everything. And then she was like, all right, whatever. So she put the bed back together, and then she like reached under a pillow and the remote was there. I was like, damn.
I don't really have any definitive experiences, which is why I don't really have much of a stance on it. I know me and my mother in my house have both had a shared experience where we'll hear like my brother's guitar making like just like light plucking of the strings, but like he doesn't live at home anymore. So we'll just sort of be like, the wind?
I think the only paranormal experience that I have, which maybe should make me believe in ghosts, but I still don't, is I have this little battery-powered little light in my room that every mother puts in like a window, but I keep one on my bookshelf because like, I don't know, my mom gave it to me. It was supposed to be in my bedroom back home. But I never put batteries in it, so it's just like the dead batteries. And one day it just started turning on. And I was like, hey, maybe my mom put batteries in it, but I never thought too hard about it, but it would keep turning on. And it's supposed to be on a specific timer, like every 8 hours, but it was never on at the same time during the day. So I just started talking to her. She's really cool. I vent to her. I could just be talking to a candlestick, and I probably am, but I like to think that she believes in me and wants the best for me, because I've told her about a lot of bad days. How sad. I talk to a fucking light.
Of all the ghost things.
Never mind, I believe.
Okay, 3 words, real or not?
Honestly,